And today we're going to talk about chapters 22 to 46 in Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I was just stuttering because I actually had originally chosen page numbers, but everybody's copy of the page is different, so I thought that maybe chapters would be easier, right? So I wanted to ask you about Jason, right? And Jason told Mia to ask her, Jason asked Mia to meet in the auditorium, right? What did you think that this was about? Did you think that this was something about, like, maybe Jason was going to attack Mia just when they went in, or maybe Jason was going to do something to Mia, or did you think that it was like something like a trap? Or did you think that maybe this was something about Jason's and Mia's friendship? But anyway, we learned that Jason likes Mia, not the friend kind of liking, but the other kind of liking. And if you had been Mia, would you have given in to Jason because that's the only way your family can maybe make some more money? Or do you think that it was right for Mia to say no to Jason? And then the last sentence in this book is this chapter is there was only going nuclear. Do you really think that things could get worse between Mr. Yao and Mia's family? And we're going to go to chapter 23 now, okay? And so Hank's boss fired Hank. First of all, I wanted to ask you, do you think that this is fair? If you said that no, this was not fair, then, well, I agree with you completely. And Hank is like this. Hank says, I'm done. It's no use fighting. People are gonna be the way they're gonna be. Do you think that's true, or do you think that people can change? Or do you think that there will always be bad people in the world and that we can't really stop that, even if we do try to make the world a better place? And now we're going to go to the employer's point of view, okay? Because we're looking at Hank's point of view, and it's really unfair, right? But we haven't actually seen the employer's point of view. The employer probably thinks that Hank is a nice guy, right? The employer might not be a racist, but it would be the same for anyone. Like if one of your people, if you're the employer if you're the boss and someone who's working for you might be a criminal, you would probably fire him, right? Of course, if the boss had known how Hank was so nice and innocent, probably the boss would have not fired Hank, right? But we really need to look at everybody's point of view because that's a very important reading skill. And then there's also a Topaz Inn, right? Okay. So I wanted to ask you about the Topaz Inn security guard. And so we learned that the Topaz Inn, the Chinese security guard, he was saying the list of black people, right? Do you think that this is actually a good thing to do, or do you think that that's racist, or would you not really consider that racist? Also, I wanted to ask you, the security guard, do you think that the reason he was doing this, why do you think that he was doing this in the first place? Do you think it was just because he didn't like black people and he just wanted to kill them all? Or do you think that there was another secret reason behind this? I'm not very sure about that, but my imagination can really carry me away, so I can think of a lot of other things. Chapter 24, okay? So, Lupe is saying that it won't do any good, right? Lupe isn't that very strong in fighting, right? She doesn't really she sort of backs down. And also, do you like this about her? And do you think that this will actually help her later on in life, or do you think that it'll just, make her so that she doesn't have any freedom at all because she doesn't even argue for her freedom, right? And so, I wanted to ask you about the police, right? So. They are going to call the police, right? And so it says that back in China, the police were very nice, but here the police aren't that very nice. Do you agree that Chinese policemen are 10 times nicer than American policemen, or do you think that, times have changed? Well, I know a few policemen because I have actually, there could be, I meet them sometimes, like school trips and stuff like that. They're pretty nice. Actually, they're very, very nice. But, it's different in America. Or at least in front desk, right? So, what do you think about Officer Phillips? How would you describe him? We haven't really described Officer Phillips. Yeah. How would you describe Officer Phillips? And also, remember how Officer Phillips, only because of the skin color, Officer Phillips just thought that Hank was a criminal, right? So I'm pretty sure that I did talk about this in the last session, but I wanted to ask you, does that make any sense to you, or does that just sound like something that Officer Phillips is mad? I mean, crazy mad. Seriously, do you think that skin color really matters while trying to track down a criminal? Okay, chapter 25. So, there was Aunt Ling, right? So there's all these aunts and uncles that are coming, right? And there's Uncle Lee and Aunt Ling, lots of other people, right? And so we learn Aunt Ling's story, right? And so I wanted to ask you, could you think of a theme right here, right at this moment? So themes are something like the general idea, something that the author's trying to express, maybe a lesson. It's like that. I think that one would be a theme from Aunt Ling's story is, so she's from Irvine, right? Irvine's supposed to be a really good city, but she doesn't really have a good time at Irvine, right? She works, I have to say, like a slave, right? I don't really like this. But anyway, it's sort of this. Even at good places, things can be bad. Or you can put good things might be bad. Things that look good might be bad, like that. So that's sort of like that. So it's really interesting, and themes are also really fun to find out, okay? Do you think, how do you like the treatments of immigrants and black people? Of course, I'm pretty sure that you think that it's unfair, right? But we think of treatment as black people, and immigrants, stuff like that. We only think of it as unfair. But what are some other words that you could use to describe this? And if you, yeah, like I would put not smart, because seriously, people just because of skin color judging, that's not very smart. Anyway, you know, like how Mia's mother's fingers, her nails, ruined, right? Mr. Yao really is making all of things ruined, right? Can you think of one more thing that Mr. Yao ruined in Mia's life? Or it might be Mia's parents' life. Or actually, if you want, you can just do it from all the bosses in the... Or if you can't, if you've already thought of everything, then just think of maybe Uncle, let's see. Uncle Lee's, what was it? The boss or any other boss. What are some things that they take away? I think that actually I thought of two. One is happiness. It takes away a lot of happiness and also hope. So some people who are really strong mental people have hope, but I don't blame people who begin to stop having hope. I personally maybe will stop having hope. But anyway, now we're going to chapter 26, okay? And so Lupe likes trees, right? Do you think that Lupe should start drawing some things else? Or do you think that trees are just amazing and that Lupe should draw all the trees in the world? Yeah, that would actually be really cool. And so she's going to teach, Mia how to draw trees. If Lupe was your friend, do you think that you would have agreed to do this, or would you have been too nervous because, in your opinion, you're not a good drawer? Okay, so Hank wants Mr. Yao's number because he wants a job as a handyman for Mr. Yao. Did you think that this was a good idea, or did you think that was a terrible idea? I thought it was sort of a terrible idea. Also, Mr. Yao doesn't even let Hank finish, right? Do you think that this was fair? Or do you think that this was not fair? If you think that that question is too easy, then I'm going to give you a much more harder question. And it is about how how Mr. Yao does not really like black people, right? Colored people, let's say. And so Mr. Yao, like I said, is unfair, right? And do you think that why do you think that Mr. Yao is so unfair to Hank and other colored people, and even like just immigrants, okay? Just immigrants, right? When he is an immigrant, he probably faced these hard things. Why do you think that he is mean when he was also probably an immigrant? I'm not very sure, but still a little, right? Think about it. Why? And chapter 27, so Mia got a fat C-. So look at this. It's the teacher's note was, check your grammar, tenses, Mia. Don't forget tenses. You need to proofread. Do you sort of sympathize with Mia? What's your worst subject? And if you do not like to talk about that, then just don't talk about that. Do you think that you could actually help Mia in writing, or are you also pretty bad at writing in your opinion? I wanted to ask you, do you think that Mia should have shown her mother the grades so that her mother might actually help Mia in homework and writing, or do you think that her mother already has a lot of things to stress about and that this will just make her even more angrier and frustrated, And also, I wanted to ask you about this. And so Lupe says you can't win if you don't play. Do you think that's true, or do you think that if you play, that's probably going to make it so that you'll lose? Also, remember, Mia doesn't really think of Lupe's point of view. She only thinks of hers, right? Not that Mia, that's bad. That's not that. I'm not criticizing Mia, okay? I'm just saying. And do you think that this is a good kind of friendship, that she's not even thinking of what Lupe's thinking? Or do you think that if you are too touchy about everything, then that would be bad? So even though Lupe doesn't want Mia to go, she says, I hope you win. Do you think that Lupe really wanted Mia to go, or do you think that she was, just saying that for Mia's behalf? I'm right now thinking half maybe she didn't want Mia to go, and she was a little lying, but at the same time she really wanted Mia to win. And then so a customer left a tip, right, $8, and the note was, to the little girl who checked us in, keep doing a great job. How did you think about this? What do you think that this symbolized, the note? What do you think it symbolized? I personally think that it symbolized maybe hope, because now Mia has hope, right? Yeah, so I think that really, really does symbolize hope. Also, so now, Mia writes a lot of letters to people, and I thought it was really cool that it showed all the things that she's edited, right? But anyway, I also wanted to talk about letters. How do you think that letters help Mia, even if she's pretty bad at writing? How do you think that letters help Mia? Do you think that letters are powerful, or do you think that they're just words, meaningless words? I think that they're really powerful. Now, the tip jar, right? Do you think that this tip jar is a good idea, or do you think that people would think that maybe the girl was selfish, that Mia was selfish, and greedy? I don't think so, but of course, your opinion might be completely different. Okay. And so Mia's mom takes a picture of a couple, right? And so, and the woman was, and how did you feel how did you sympathize with Mia's mother? Have you ever had the same experience as Mia's mother? I have one I at first, when I started school, like preschool, I did not know any English at all. So I think, I'm not very sure, 100% sure, but I think I went back. I homeschooled at home. I learned some math. Well, not math, but because I'm in preschool, but like sort of a little math, and I really got fluent in English, and then I went to first grade. So I went to preschool, but the preschool, it was so I went to preschool and then skipped kindergarten. But anyway, I really do sympathize with Mia's mom. Okay, chapter 29. So I wanted to ask you about the floral pants that she got from Goodwill. Do you think that the jeans, just because Mia doesn't have jeans, do you think that makes her poor? Or do you think that floral pants, they're okay, and that, who cares what other people think? And do you think, Lupus says, ignore them. Do you think that this is a good tactic or a terrible tactic? If a bully it's good to ignore, but sometimes do not ignore. Just say, stop it. And if that doesn't work, call a teacher. And if the teacher, and if behind the teacher's back, the kid still keeps on doing it, keep on reporting the teacher, saying stop it. And then if you really do want revenge, well, I won't give you any ideas, because I'm a troublemaker, and I don't want you to become a troublemaker either. Well, I'm not really a troublemaker, but still. Anyway, so how do you like Cousin Shen's attitude? Do you think that Cousin Shen is too violent and aggressive, or do you think that this is nice and that he's protecting Mia? Okay, chapter 30. So Hank stopped paying his rent, right? And now Mr. Yao is making Mia's parents pay. That is so unfair, right? What does Mia's parents have to do with this, right? Do you think that if Mia's parents ever reported this to the police, do you think that they would that Mr. Yao would be arrested, or do you think that Mr. Yao is too powerful? Anyway, so chapter 31, Mia writes a letter to the mean girls, right? And so how do you like Mia's letter? Do you think that it shows a lot of weaknesses, or do you think that it shows strength? I think that it shows lots of strength, but I don't think that I would actually put in, I don't think that I would actually mention secondhand clothes, because I would just say that I don't really like it, and that. But I really like the ending when she said, "Now do you know what I think? I think I'd rather never go on a vacation than be like you." And then P.S. is, floral cotton pants are way more comfy than jeans. Well, okay. Anyway, we're now going to keep on going, and what I wanted to ask you about that was Uncle Su. Sorry if I'm not very pronouncing that right. But anyway, so I wanted to ask you about hospices. Do you like about hospices? Have you ever heard of these hospices? And also, Shen says, the memory is like this. "Yes, it will," he said. "You're going to come back wearing all kinds of fancy clothes." Oh, Shen. That's not working out, right? But anyway, I wanted to ask you about quitting. So his dad wants to quit while her dad wants to quit when her mother wants to keep it. If you had been the parents, would you have wanted to quit, or would you have wanted to keep on doing it? Personally, I would have quit. Anyway, so I wanted to ask you, Mrs. Mia says $30, right? Do you think that but it's wrong, right? Because do you like how Mia's thinking, or do you think that Mia's dumb? I don't think that Mia is dumb, but I think that, it's just my opinion, but maybe Mia should think about why they were doing this math problem. And I'm 100% sure that other kids don't know that they have to, in real motel life, they have to give back $30, right? I mean, they just have $30, no refunds or something like that, right? So that wouldn't really be math, that would be knowledge. So I don't think that really works. But of course, Mia's news, and I really have to sympathize with her, Also, if you had been Mia's teammates, how would you have reacted to, this wrong answer? Would you have been angry, or would you have sympathized? I wouldn't have been completely angry, but I would be a little annoyed, But I can't really blame Mia, but of course I can't really blame the teammates for being angry, right? And do you think that Jason is better at Mia than math? And did you actually figure out the math problem? I did, and Jason's correct. It is $2.50. Okay, chapter 33. So, Mia puts a banana peel on her head. Do you like this, or do you think that it's just annoying because she should be the person that she is, not try to be somebody else? And do you sometimes feel like you want to be somebody else? And then her mother says, "You know what you are in English? You're a bicycle, and the other kids are cars." If you had heard that, how would you have felt? And of course, you probably would have felt terrible. But what I really wanted to ask you, how would you describe it? How would you have felt? Like, would you have felt like a scumbag, or would you have felt really, or would you have felt very angry? How would you have felt? I would have felt all the bad words in the world, and then I would be really angry, and I would also feel. But then the thing is, she is true. Not about Mia being a bicycle. She is not a bicycle. She's an airplane, and airplanes are faster than cars, right? So I think that she's an airplane, but still, some of what Mia's mother is saying is true, right? But I think that 99 point infinity is probably not true. It is probably not true of what Mia's mother has said. Also, I wanted to ask you, do you think that the bowl, the imaginary bowl, do you think that it could be fixed or not? But anyway, her dad bought her a really good pencil. Do you think that this was a waste of money, or did you think that it was really sweet, and were you very happy about this? Okay, so chapter 35. So Uncle Feng has done a lot of mistakes, right? Not like bad mistakes, just, like how, like saying, "Hey, baby," or scratching his nose with his middle finger. So do you think that, so how did you feel, how did you sympathize with this, or did you think that, and have you ever had that kind of experience? I have. I kept on talking about something because we were at school, because we were supposed to do something, and then the teacher was like, "We're not talking about that." So, but anyway, that's a different story. And anyway, so I wanted to ask you about Halloween and Mia, right? Do you think that Mia should go trick-or-treating, or do you think that managing the front desk would be better, because then she would get a lot of tips? Also, do you think that Mia, like when Mia is trick-or-treating, compared to the front desk, do you think that she likes trick-or-treating better, or managing the front desk? It's really hard to answer, but I think that she likes trick-or-treating more. Also, anyway, so in chapter 36, they are going to, Macy's and stuff. Like, they aren't going to actually, buy anything, but and then they see, Jason's mother and Jason. If you had been Mia's mother, how would you have reacted to seeing Jason's mother? Would you have been frightened, scared, or maybe excited? And compared to Mr. Yao, do you think that Mrs. Yao is better, or do you think that she's also going to be pretty mean when we see later on in the book? Okay, also, I wanted to ask you about we're going to chapter 36, and so in chapter 36, Lupa is like, it's not guys, it's guy. Or at least, Mia said this, right? And Lupa sort of grouped Mia and Jason together. Do you think that this is fair, because they are both Chinese, or do you think that they are completely different people and that they are not alike at all, except for their culture? And Jason's Taiwanese. And Taiwan is actually a different country. Also, I also wanted to ask you about the hot seat, right? And so Mia really battled Jason there, right? And do you think that do you think that what Mia was doing, do you think that this was fair to Jason? Because she was sort of attacking Jason, but at the same time, do you think that it was a good thing to do? I think that it was a very good thing to do. And also, do you think that how Jason is arguing, right? Do you like Mia's argument more, or do you like Jason's argument more? And what, in your opinion, makes more sense? Also, like how sometimes grown people were fighting in restaurants because they wanted to pay the bill. Do you think that this is a good thing to do, or do you think that people just get hurt and get angry and that they should just do rock, paper, scissors, and the person who, I don't know, wins gets to pay? Okay, or if you want losers, then losers you get to pay. Chapter 38. So Jason had Mia's pencil, right? How do you think that Jason even stole the pencil? And then also, Mrs. Douglas thinks that the true owner of the pencil is Jason. Do you like the system that Mrs. Douglas used? Do you think that it makes sense, or do you think that it's a really foolish thing to do and that you have never heard of something as that foolish? I didn't really think, I never heard that something that foolish. Also, do you think that when Mia asked, "Please, Jason, can you give my pencil back? It's very important to me." What part of the sentence do you think made Jason lick the pencil? I think it's very important to me. So it's like this. Let's say that you have an enemy, okay? Let's say you have a enemy or a bully at school, and the bully steals, let's see, what's a school supply? Maybe your favorite pair of scissors. If you do not like scissors, or you're not very interested in scissors, well, let's just say that he steals it, okay? And let's say the scissors were very important to you. Okay, so, and then if you said that it was very important to you, then the bully would smile and get all your scissors, right? Because that's what bullies do. And anyway, Jason licks the pencil. Do you think that when he grows up he will be the same as Mr. Yao? Because he takes away Mia's hope, same as Mr. Yao has done. What are some similarities the same, like with Jason and Mr. Yao? Finally, I wanted to ask you, do you think that Jason, do you think that he will grow up to be like Mr. Yao or his father, or do you think that it still has hope? Well, you're gonna have to learn that in the third part of the book, and let me just tell you, the third part is the most epic part. Also, so Mia writes another letter to and sent to Jason. Do you think that like how like she crossed out things like, or else I'm going to punch you in the face, or like I hate you, or it's totally unfair, or like things like that. Do you think that Mia should have added things like that, or do you think that she shouldn't, because that'll just make Mr. Yao, Jason more angry, and then if Jason tells Mr. Yao, well, things are going to get a little more than nuclear. If you do not know what is more than nuclear, I don't know either. But anyway, so we found out that Mr. Yao is going to Las Vegas, and Lupe does not really agree with Mia's plan on breaking in. Not breaking in, but still, tricking the housemaid and all that. Do you like Mia's plan, or do you not like Mia's plan? Can you list all the risks and also all the good things about the plan? And so Mia's never really thought of Lupe's opinion, right? And Lupe says, unlike you, we don't have another plan. in Lupe's point of view. Suddenly, what do you think? I mean, she doesn't really have another plan if Mr. Yao fires her dad. Well, that's not gonna work. And how do you like Mia's lack of understanding her friend? Do you like it, or do you don't like it? Do you think that really helps the friendship or not? Not really. It doesn't really help it, right? And then so Mia writes a letter, right? I thought it was a very special letter. And talking about letters, I have a question. What's your favorite letter so far that Mia's written? I personally, I really liked this letter, Lupe, right? I really liked the letter to Lupe, but also the letter, about to Hank. So I liked both of them, but I especially really liked this one, okay? And so I hope that you also like this. But anyway, we are going to talk about now Lupe and Mia, okay? And so what I wanted to ask you was, so that's actually in chapter 41, okay? So we are going to talk about Lupe and Mia, talking and all that, and then we're gonna go back to how Jason's crying. I mean, even when Lupe doesn't want Mia to go, she helps Mia. Do you think that this is if you had been Lupe, would you have done the same thing, or would you have not done the same thing? And would you have just, would you have, I don't know how to put this, let's say, would you have sacrificed yourself? Or would you have not have? Also, and now we're gonna go back to Jason crying. Do you think that this was a good revenge, or do you think that the revenge should be more than that? I mean, did you actually think of the revenge as like maybe kicking Jason into a pool of lava or something? Well, not lava, but you get the point, right? Anyway, then her mother was on the floor. I mean, not on the floor, on the road, and she was like had blood and gushing down her face. If you had been Mia, of course you would have been terrified, right? So I'm gonna ask you, if you had seen that, what emotion would have immediately popped up? And you might just be like, scared, but seriously, horror, anger, and if you and also I wanted to ask you about her mother. Do you think that if Mia had found her mother, do you think that her mother might have died? Also, his dad keeps on saying, it should have been me, not you. Do you think that it should have been Mia's father, or do you think that it shouldn't have been nobody? Also, okay, Mia is sacrificing the hotel to Vermont with her mother, right? Do you think that this is a good plan, or if you had been Mia, would you have kept that off because if they got to Vermont, then they would have all the health care they needed, right? And I also wanted to ask you about this doctor, right? This doctor, really nice and kind. Do you think that, how would you describe this doctor? I would describe him nice, kind, generous, humble, all those words, and then a million more. Also, what do you think it took for the doctor to say everything? To say that they're gonna have to waive the fees? I think that it took courage and bravery, Finally, the last question I wanted to ask you before we keep on going is, do you think that after all that's happened, right? Do you think that Mia is Mia and Mia's father and Mia's whole family, okay? Mia and her parents, do you think that they're actually regretting immigrating to America? Or do you think that there's still hope and that they can be successful and that America will be a great place for them, better than China? And now, so Mia writes a letter to the doctor, right? And I really want to read out one sentence. Is this: I hope that you I hope you'll accept this letter and this picture of a tree that I drew for you. The tree represents my mom, and the leaves represent all the new hope you've given her, that people in America are kind. Did you ever think about the hope as being on trees? People say that money doesn't grow on trees. Maybe hope does, right? And then Hank comes in and he says, you want the good news or the bad news? When you read that sentence, what immediately came, what thought came immediately into your mind? And I also want to ask you, how would you describe the feeling that went into your mind? I felt like, let's say, a blade made out of pure ice, like, was stabbing my heart. Not literally, but but really terrified. Okay, and so Hank went to jail, right? And so he went to jail. Do you think that this was free or not? Because Hank did beat the people up, but he was protecting somebody. I don't think that is fair at all. Do you think that the justice system is actually justice? Not really. If you don't tell this to a judge or anything, the judge is probably doing a great job. I'm just saying the justice system overall. Okay, so do you their offer on hiding Hank? Do you think that was a good idea, or do you think that was the most terrible idea ever? Because Mia and Mia's parents are going to lose their job. Hank's gonna get kicked out. Maybe they're gonna go to jail. And finally, Hank. The thing is, Hank is going to enroll as a security guard, right? And so Mia changes it though, right? And even though it works, do you think that this was a right thing to do? Or do you think that this was dishonest? Because Hank might get kicked out. He might never have a job again. Do you think that this was a good thing? Or do you think that this was a terrible thing and dishonest? And how did you like, how Mia wrote everything? Did you think that was sweet? Or did you think that it was just going to lead to more trouble? And Mia has got a real C- in her writing. But looking at her letters, do you think that she really deserves a C-, or do you think that she deserves an A? Because what the writing looks like, how it is expressed, that doesn't really matter. What matters is what is expressed in the writing. Not how it looks or how it is put, but what is in the writing, And and also, I wanted to ask you about this girl who came in, right? How did you like her attitude? I didn't. But she left behind a pair of jeans. Do you think that this was on a mistake, or do you think that this was actually on purpose? Okay, so if you had been Jason, what would you have immediately felt when you saw that? If I would have been Jason, I'd be like, and then I would have been angry because now I didn't have any tactic to annoy Mia, Okay, so we're at our last 2 pages. And so, anyway, I wanted to ask you, if you had been Hank, would you have been mad at Mia, or would you have been happy at Mia, even if Mia got Hank a job? Also, you know how Mia's Thanksgiving, they only have turkey sandwiches, not a huge turkey. There's not like cranberry pudding, right? Just a turkey, sandwiches, and cherry tomatoes. But whose Thanksgiving do you think was better? Mr. Yao's or Mia's family's? I think that Mia's family's was much more happier because they had friends over and they were talking and laughing, even if they were poor. And it's not like they didn't have any food at all, right? Turkey sandwiches. I have to tell you, I love sandwiches, especially turkey sandwiches. And also, I'm actually this Thanksgiving is coming up. For the people who are watching at different times of the year, then you don't have to listen to this. But Thanksgiving is coming up. We're not having a big roasted turkey. We're actually having sliced up turkey. That's not because we have the money. It's just because we do not like turkey a lot. Well, actually we do, but we don't want huge quantities of turkey. But you know what I mean, right? I'm just saying that, what I'm saying is just that who needs turkey in Thanksgiving? Did you actually know that the Pilgrims did not have any turkey? The first Thanksgiving did not have any turkey. I don't think it also had any cranberry sauce either. And some of the things like stuffing and stuff, I'm almost 100% sure that they weren't there. No mashed potatoes either. Okay, let's stop talking about Thanksgiving, okay? But anyway, if you had been Mia, what would be the list of things that you'd have been thankful for? And what are you thankful for anyway? Even if it's not Thanksgiving, okay, guys? And we are actually done with the book, okay? Front desk. And hope that you had a really good time with me. Next time, we're just gonna finish the whole book. So hope that you really like today, the next part of the book. Excuse me. A lot of loose ends are going to be tied up in the ending. So it's amazing. So really hope that you enjoyed the rest of the book, guys. Keep reading. That's my motto, okay? And a few last questions, my regular last questions. If you have been watching a lot of my videos, you'll probably be like, oh, I've heard enough of these, and you probably memorize them. But for the people who have not seen a lot of my videos, well, what's your favorite part in these chapters and then the whole book so far, okay? If your favorite part was in these chapters and then from the whole book it was also in these chapters, maybe the same one, that you can just count one favorite part for both of them. Also, what was your favorite character and your least favorite character? Even if we didn't get a lot of new characters, still the actions and what the characters say, like things like that, it really changes how we think of the character. Actually, one time I was reading about this character. I loved him at first, and then I didn't really like him because he had done some things bad. And then I suddenly liked him again because he was doing some things good, and on and on and on. Okay. Also, least favorite character. How did you like this book so far? Really cool to monitor how you like this book. I might have told this story multiple times, but anyway, one time I hated a book, so I was down in the dumps. My dislike of the book was going down, 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 and suddenly I liked the book so much it went up. And so, yeah, it's really fun to monitor. And finally, what do you predict is going to happen next for Mia? And do you think that she'll be able to get to Vermont? How do you think that the story is going to end? What do you think is going to happen to Jason? What do you think the happy ending is going to be? Well, guys, I hope that you had a great time with me again, and keep reading. That's my motto. And there's a lot of other books I'm doing as book clubs, and there's just a billion more books after I've done Even when I've done my book club, there's a lot of books. There's actually a lot of series. For a lot of books, I do a lot of books like Newbery Honors and Newbery Medal books, and just really famous books. And most of them actually have a series behind them that's not well known, but I've read them and they're amazing. But I might not be able to do them. I'll try, I promise. But if I don't, then you read it. Front Desk has a sequel. I think has the next book a sequel. I'm 99% sure that I will do it because I have bought the book from Amazon. But if it doesn't come out, then enjoy other books. And if it hasn't come out yet, it might come out any day. Bye guys!